Hi everyone, Grant K here for the Smoke Learning channel. In the previous video, we went through the project and user settings when starting up Smoke 2016. I mentioned that each project starts off with one environment known as the Workspace. And within this environment, you manage all your post-production tasks such as importing, editing, effects, media management, and exporting. In this video, we focus on the media panel that is used to store and organize all your content within the project. You can use your own media to follow along. Starting at the top of the media panel, you will see the Workspace section. If you want, you can click on the Workspace and change its name. However, I would like to point out that the project's name is in the brackets and this will not change. But it helps you to identify what project you are working in. Within the Workspace, you will find your Libraries folder and a default library to start. For most jobs, all your work will be done in this section. But it's worth noting that there is another section known as Shared Libraries. This is at the bottom of the media panel and is not actually part of the current Workspace. The only time you use the shared libraries is when you are collaborating with multiple Smoke systems within the same project. For now, we are working on a single Smoke system, therefore all the work is kept in the Libraries folder within the Workspace. In terms of managing and organizing your work, this can be done in a variety of ways. Firstly, you can create as many libraries as you want. Just right-click on the main Libraries folder and choose to create a new library from the pop-up menu. Once you have your libraries, you can further your media management by creating multiple folders within the library. Just right-click on the library and create a new folder. You can also create folders within folders, as well as using drag and drop to rearrange them. As an added visual benefit, you can also right-click on any existing library or folder and choose to color-code it through the pop-up menu. So from a structural point of view, you can work the way you prefer. But when it comes to the actual media, Smoke artists have multiple ways of representing the clips. The first view is the tiles view. So the media is represented as tiled clips that can be scrubbed to view the contents. If you find the tiles are too small, you can drag the size slider to resize the tiles in the media panel. The second view is the list view. The list view will give you all the metadata information that is not typically displayed with the tiles view. As you have seen, you can toggle between the different views at the bottom of the screen. And it's worth noting that all operational functionality is the same whether you use the list view or the tiles view. Now, if you need to see more of the media panel, you have two choices. Smoke 2016 now offers a dual monitor setup. So using the recommended hardware configuration, you can have a full screen media panel on one screen and the rest of the Smoke interface on the second. Please visit the Autodesk website to see the recommended configurations. If you are working with a single screen and you need more room to view your clips, you can press the one right arrow keyboard shortcut and this will expand the media panel full screen. This is also available as a toggle at the bottom of the media panel. The same keyboard shortcut will scale the media panel back to its original size. What's really handy is the regular view of the media panel has a separate tile size compared to the full screen view. This means you can adjust the tile sizes for both views and toggle easily between them. Staying with the full screen view of the media panel, switch to the list view. By scrolling through the list, there is now a ton of metadata being revealed. In terms of media organization, you can manually arrange your content. Or you can sort the content by any of the columns in the ascending or descending properties. By clicking on a column header, you will cycle through ascending, descending, or manual sorting. You can also right-click on any column to choose the sorting as well as what columns are displayed in the list view. And as you have already experienced, if you prefer a more visual view of your media in any part of the media panel, you can switch to the tiles view. This is a more effective way to visually identify any media. Please note that manual sorting as well as ascending and descending sorting is also available in the tiles view. Now I'd like to show you some finer details that might not be apparent, but it will allow you to know exactly where you are in the media panel. Let's take the tiles view into account, as well as the sheer volume of elements you could have in the libraries. This could lead to a massive list of entries that you need to navigate. So to help you keep track of your location in the media panel, you have dynamic folder accumulation. In other words, as you scroll the media panel, the libraries and folders will gather at the top of the media panel. For example, if you have a folder containing hundreds of clips, you can keep scrolling the media panel and you will always see the current library and folder that you're browsing. As you move on to the next library or folder, this will continue to gather at the top of the media panel. You can click on the arrow symbol of any of these levels, and this will jump you back to that point within the structure. This is extremely useful to manage very populated libraries. Another useful view that is more appropriate for media management is the dual panel view. Now you have two views of the same media panel, but they are independent of each other. You can look at different sections of the libraries at the same time. So moving elements between different libraries is much easier in this view. You can resize the media panels using the split bar. And you can change between the tiles and list view in each of the panels. Please note that only a side-by-side configuration of the media panel is supported in dual view. Turn off the dual panel view. Finally, a big point I'd like to reiterate is that all this functionality is available in the Media Hub. So for example, let's switch to the Media Hub. Using the Project tab, you should have the same experience browsing projects. You're able to view all the workspaces within a project. Going into a project, you can use the tiles or list view. Now ensure you toggle to a hierarchy view instead of a single view. When you browse the folders, they will dynamically accumulate the workspace structure at the top of the panel. Double-clicking on libraries or folders will isolate that section in the browser for a more focused view of the elements. You can track your location using the breadcrumb hints above the browsing window. Clicking on any of these points will reintroduce the higher levels of the workspace structure. So you can easily focus on a single folder, or jump back to the entire workspace structure with a click. Another example of the media panel functionality is considering the task of conforming. By using the Conform tab at the top of the media panel, you can filter by conform sources. Using this in combination with the tiles, you can clearly see the shots associated with the conform. Hopefully, problem-solving any conforms will be easier from a visual standpoint. To conclude this video, as a reminder, you don't need to see the media panel all the time for creative tasks. You can press one left arrow and it will disappear. The same keyboard shortcut will bring it back when you need it. Comments, feedback, and suggestions are always welcome and appreciated. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the Smoke Learning channel for future videos.